Good morning, I'm Julie Patterson.
And I'm Paul Poteet. It's Boomer TV time again. Where are we going this week?
We're going to go to the International Marketplace. It's this 2-mile radius on the city's west side where you can dine on cuisine from all over the world.
So we're going everywhere.
Yeah, and you can take as much time as you want and eat as much as you want.
I love this.
So you'll learn about that on this
idea.
morning's show.
Well, if you're downsizing, maybe changing your abode, and
Right.
then you got to deal with not only all of the stuff to keep them
Moving.
Somebody's got to pay for it, right?
Yeah, you got to think about the financial part of that. How are you going to pay for it? What kind of deals are out there? How are you going to manage it? We've got some tips for you baby boomers who might be downsizing soon.
Yeah, we're talking this stuff.
Okay. Oh, there's a gentleman we'd like to introduce you to on today's show too.
Oh, yeah.
Lloyd Wright. He's been in the business, the television business, for 3+ decades, and you're going to learn why he's retiring. Why do people retire? Oh, wait. I think we all know.
Wait a minute.
So you'll meet him today.
We watch that interview, we might, get inspired.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're going to pause for a little bit. Pause and think.
PAWS.
PAWS.
Oh my gosh, this group is so cool. They have different animals, like mostly dogs, that go into schools, and they'll go into special classrooms. Maybe some of the kids have some behavior problems, but they take the dogs in. The dogs are very calming and soothing. The kids can pet them, they can read a story. It's a really neat organization, and you're going to learn about that on today's show.
Pets bring us together sometimes, and we're so glad you got together with us today because we got a lot to do.
We do, and thank you so much for being here. Let's watch the episode. You ready?
Here we go with Boomer TV.
Boomer TV is made possible with support from Westport Homes, dedicated to building homes for every chapter of life, with plans and details that match customers' specific needs and style. Additional funding is provided by Altman, Poindexter, and Wyatt attorneys, serving clients throughout central Indiana with wills, trusts, and estates, with over 70 years of combined experience. Unique Home Solutions, serving more than 30,000 homeowners since 1983. Providing home remodeling services from minor updates to complete renovations with a mission to improve appearance and efficiency.
Julie and I are coming to you in English, but we're about to broaden your horizons.
You know, I have a son that speaks Chinese and a son that speaks German, but I know no other languages. Do you, actually?
No, I don't.
No.
Both of my sons know ASL, American Sign Language.
Oh, that's very cool. A very
which
cool
is
skill.
very cool, which I think they learned to also speak behind my back.
But we can all eat internationally
There you
and
go.
enjoy, correct?
Yes, yes.
There is an international market on the city's west side, and we're going to take you there, and yum, yum. You're going to like it.
I knew what that meant.
Right now we are in the soon-to-be called the Global Village, a place, if you think of the Indianapolis Children's Museum, Disney's Epcot Center, and Convention Center, all with an international flavor.
So what exactly is the International Marketplace?
So the International Marketplace is located on the west side of Indianapolis, a place where it's now known for its amazing food eateries. It's home to over 150 different languages, some 80 different ethnic restaurants, and about 40 different ethnic markets.
So you can travel the world without even leaving the city.
Absolutely you can, and that's the best part. You can travel the world. If you get out of your car and go into the businesses, you will leave these United States and you can go to Yemen, you can go to India, you can go to Nigeria, because the businesses, the insides of them take on their native land.
What are different ways that you kind of put a hug around all of these business owners and really embrace the international marketplace?
So today is a great example. Today is the Taste the Difference Festival, our 12th Taste the Difference Festival. Here you can come and really eat yourself around the world for a mere $15. We have some 20 plus restaurants, I think we're close to 25 or so, from different countries. You can experience it through cultural booths and performances.
Now, a lot of times when we hear about the international marketplace, we do think of food first, but there's lots of different shops and boutiques. Tell us about some of those.
Oh my gosh. So, do you want something from different parts of Africa or the different Latino communities? Some of the best shops are here in the international marketplace.
I belong to the Cologne, Germany Sister Cities Committee. So we have a partnership between Cologne, Germany and Indianapolis. And we have sponsored partnerships with the firefighters and librarians and jazz musicians. So it's been, this year especially is the year of Germany. And so we're doing a lot of exciting projects and programming and festivals throughout.
And what do you think people could learn from experiencing something like an exchange?
It's just a wonderful way to see how the other half live, to get around, get a chance to participate in life in a different country and experience the culture and get to know the people, and you find out everybody's the same. It was a wonderful feeling. I felt very at home. It was such a wonderful experience, and I wouldn't trade it.
What is a sister city exactly?
Yes. Sister Cities, basically what it is it's a people-to-people relationship. It started with President Eisenhower, so it's a federal program. And he believed that the way to bring people together after World War II was to build people-to-people relationships from United States abroad. So you don't have sister cities within the United States, if that makes sense. You have it with United States and another country. So it's a people-to-people relationship. It's typically formalized through the mayor's offices or the city leadership of each of the cities. And it's typically characterized by like an MOU, a memorandum of understanding that's signed between the two cities. And that basically organizes committees that serve both one here locally and one abroad, and they interact together to see how we can build stronger relationships, whether it be sending students to come experience Indianapolis for 2 weeks, whether it be sending a firefighter to see how Indianapolis Fire Department does their job. It can be a lot of different things, and so that's kind of what it is.
This is more of a traditional costume, right? This isn't something you would wear every day.
Definitely not.
Is that something that people get confused about too, you think?
Yeah. People always think like we wear this every single day, but like it's 2018.
Now, when I'm ready to go to Taiwan, you ready to take me on a tour? Who's ready to go on a road trip? And tell us about what you're wearing today.
Well, this is the traditional clothing of the India, and so it's not worn, just basically now worn only in festivals and places like that. But this is supposed to be a traditional one.
And is there any significance with the length or anything, or any of the design?
No, just as long as it looks nice.
Now we're with Chris St. Paul with another one of our sister cities. Where have we traveled to now?
Today we're with Northamptonshire, England. What makes it so special is that we have an incredible synergy with them because of their racing connection. So they have Silverstone Racetrack, which you can see behind us, and that is the Formula One home of the British Grand Prix, and it's because of that racing connection that they're our sister city.
And what do you want people to know about the Sister Cities program?
Sister Cities is amazing. It helps to connect Indianapolis with the rest of the world. So we have, I believe, 9 sister cities right now. We have 2 more ready to connect with us. And it gives us the opportunity with sister cities to bring that culture to the people of Indianapolis, and vice versa, to bring Indianapolis to the rest of the world.
Today we've traveled the world without even leaving the city. Thanks for coming along. I'm Mel McMahon for Boomer TV.
All right, it's nice of Baxter the cat to let me get away for half an hour every week. There's a lot involved in taking care of him. A lot involved.
He's pretty independent, though, right? Your cat?
Yes, like many cats. I guess he probably would get over not having me around. There's a lot to think.
He's the only one.
There's a lot to think about when you have little kitties and doggies running around.
You know what? We love our pets. There are certain pets that do special things. I don't know if you've heard of the group Pause and Think, P-A-W-S, but they go into schools and they go into classrooms. Sometimes it's special need kids, and they let them pet them and they read stories with the pets.
Aww.
It's a very cool program. Pause and Think. You're going to learn more now.
Healing arts mean for a hospital? Healing Arts incorporates art, music, dance movement, and pet therapies here, and our services reach out to patients that are adults, pediatric patients, as well as our own associates and providers here.
So this is a newer program, though, with St. Vincent's, right? And you're partnering with Pause and Think, called Pause to Heal.
Yes.
Tell us how that involves the dogs in the program.
Yes, and so Pause to Heal is a program that Pause and Think has created for our hospital, and they've really catered it to our needs, our associates' needs, the patients' needs, and so whether that's, sessions at the bedside or going to a general waiting area while families are waiting for their loved ones to return from surgery, they've been really great to meet all of our needs where they are, meet the patients where they are.
How have you seen this work, as far as the dogs actually helping people cope here in the hospital, or even healing them?
I've had accolades from patients that said they weren't pressing that button for their pain medication. They were delaying it because they didn't need it. So we're seeing that non-pharmacological pain reduction because of these Pause and Think therapy dogs and the impact that they're having on the patients. And so, the studies, maybe we need to do a little more quantitative research on it, but I think that it's there and we're definitely seeing it from our patients.
What happens when you go into a hospital room? What usually takes place?
Well, usually Rookie just goes up to the patient. He knows which is the patient. He's learned where the bed is and go over there. And I let Rookie do his thing. He just kind of develops a relationship with the patient and lets the patient pet him. And we've seen heart monitors where the heart rate has gone down when they start petting him. It's just so rewarding to see the patient so happy to see a dog. And a lot of them really miss their dogs at home.
Has to be so rewarding and fulfilling for you and Rookie.
It is. It's just feels like you're doing something for someone else.
You guys are involved in not only hospitals, but many locations and many other programs too. What are some of those?
So we have two sides to our organization, and one is pet therapy, and that's what we do at Ascension St. Vincent is we go and visit patients that need emotional support, comfort, just that unconditional love that a dog can bring. But the hospitals aren't the only places that we visit. We also go to retirement communities, we go to schools and libraries, support groups. So we have support groups that we go to for people that are experiencing domestic violence or have lost someone close to them. So we really are out everywhere, and then we provide kind of stress relief for a lot of people that work in high stress jobs. So this can be places like hospitals, but it can also be the social workers or other people that just need a break from what they do every day that can really take a toll. And what's better than a dog who comes in and loves on you and doesn't care anything that happened that day. All they want is just somebody to pay attention to them and love on them. So.
And you have a lot of volunteers who help make all this happen. What is the role of a volunteer with Pause and Think?
Sure. So we have volunteers both with and without their dogs. So we do have volunteers that are therapy teams, which is a handler and his or her dog that are specially trained to go into these venues and provide support for people. But then we also have a ton of volunteers that don't have dogs, that either they don't have dogs or their dogs aren't therapy dog material, which I have one of those as well, so I know how that goes. And so they can go and they can escort our folks at a lot of the venues that we go to, and you're just there to kind of provide help for the team and do anything that they aren't able to focus on during that visit. And then we also have our Youth Canine program, which is where we pair up at-risk youth with shelter dogs, and the kids train the shelter dogs in basic obedience. And from that, it's a win-win because the dogs go back to the shelter, they're more adoptable because they know their manners and their basic obedience. And then the kids learn life skills like empathy, self-esteem, positive reinforcement, all of those kind of things. And so for that program, we need tons of volunteers that don't have dogs to come help and act as coaches, and they help work with the kids as a mentor. And then we have a ton of people that work behind the scenes. So they work on committees, they work to do some of the kind of not as glamorous data entry or paperwork, that kind of stuff, but it's all the stuff that makes our nonprofit run.
So helping patients heal more quickly with the help of pet therapy. I'm Cheryl Mathis with Boomer TV.
So when you watch television, you'll see people like Paul and I and
talking heads.
But there's a lot of people behind the scenes at television stations that you'll never see or know or even get their name. But we want to introduce you to a very special one, a very important one, who's been in the business for plus decades.
That's a long time.
It is. His name is Lloyd Wright, and he works right here at WFYI. Come and meet him.
You're going to be on TV now, Lloyd.
We are spending a little bit of time in Mr. Wright's neighborhood today. It's Lloyd Wright. He is the president and CEO of WFYI Public Media. And you've been doing that for almost 30 years, but now you're retiring. Why did you get into broadcasting in the first place?
Yeah, you know, all my life I've had an interest in television, radio. Probably watched way too much television as a kid, and always had an idea of, you know, working in some form of communication. And so at my high school was involved with a speech class, and that was about the limit of what you could do. And then majored in radio and television, telecommunications in school, and had in mind television production. And I think at one time I thought I might like to be in front of the camera or behind the microphone, but I fell in love with TV production, and so that sent me on a career. My first job was actually with the Indiana Department of Public Instruction. Now they call it the Department of Education. And I took a job because it had broadcasting in the title, and I thought it would tide me over till that great producer job came along. And that was instructional broadcasting, the division of instructional media. And little did I know at that time that it would launch a career in educational, non-commercial media, mostly public television since the early 80s.
Yeah, it was the perfect setup. Didn't even know that. But as you mentioned, it's like 1988 you first came to FYI?
Yep.
And at that time, one TV station, one radio station. Now, 3 different channels for television, 2 HD radio, and a web. How did you navigate those changes in a very short amount of time?
Yeah.
A lot of big things happen in a short amount of time.
Yeah, we've come a long way. I remember we signed off at midnight, you know, in those days. As you say, we were Channel 20 in an analog format. In 1970, when WFYI signed on the air, it was the only UHF station, and so people didn't even know how to tune in Channel 20 in the early 1970s. Digital came along and changed all that, and expanded the capacity for what we can do. And you know, and again, I have to give credit to my predecessor, Frank Meek, who worked with other community leaders to acquire the radio station because it had been licensed to the Indianapolis Public Schools. Folks may remember WIAN, and in 1986, the radio station became a part of WFYI Public Television. Call letters were changed, and so since that time, we've been, you know, WFYI TV and radio, and then in a digital format, expanding to HD radio that offers more than we had before. So there's been a lot of growth, and then online, social media, and it just continues to change.
And during that time, in addition to running everything here, you were also on the board of PBS Board of Directors numerous years, and you chaired the Joint Licensee Group. And this is a really interesting group of stations that, like WFYI, have both radio and television. Not all of the stations do. There's a handful of them that have that. And the Public Television Major Market Group. Those are 40 of the major TV groups around the country. Mm-hmm. What did you learn from sharing with those operations that you were able to implement here at WFYI, and then vice versa? What were you able to share that you had started and things that were working well here with them?
Yeah, well, I think public media in America is sort of a patchwork quilt. There are different types of licensees, university licensees, school boards like IPS that once owned WIAN, you know, and the vast majority of the stations are, you know, fairly small budgets and operating in smaller towns, and so a lot of small stations. So there are these affinity groups, and one of them is the Joint Licensee Group. There are 89 or 90 outlets that have both a PBS station and an NPR station, so it's a relatively small percentage overall. But you know, just trading ideas about best practices that take place where you can take advantage of your television and radio station working together to find efficiencies. And then another affinity group within the system is the Major Market Group, made up of the 40 largest PBS markets in the country. And again, we were involved with a variety of collaborations to create content and share best practices in fundraising and deal with some common issues in the system around revenue generation and efficiencies of a variety of kinds.
Because it's still very true. Public media, the public is an important part of that.
No doubt about it. It was true in 1969 and 70 when WFYI was trying to get on the air. Always loved the story of Ardith Burkhart leading a group of 7,000, mostly young mothers, door to door in an 8-county area to raise enough money to operate that first year in 1970. And they were going door to door talking about a new program available everywhere but Indianapolis called Sesame Street. And so it took the public then, and it's no different now. You know, close to 40% of our operating budget, which is about $12 million, comes from individual listeners and viewers, and so we rely heavily on the folks watching and listening.
The tough questions now.
Uh-oh.
Your favorite PBS TV show to watch?
I'm a big fan of what we've been able to do locally. I'll say that. I have lots of favorite programs, both on television and radio. But I think an important ingredient for WFYI and other public stations is to have impact locally. So the work that we've done, whether it's Indiana Week in Review or Curious Mix, the program that we have out now featuring Eva Moses Core and the story of the Holocaust survivor, the impact that can have in our area is probably my favorite aspect of what we do.
Thank you for all that you've done for WFYI and for our viewers at home too, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
For Boomer TV, I'm Jill Dittmeyer.
Well, here we are in a beautiful Westport home.
How do you get these homes, though? There are a lot of boomers who have to make financial decisions these days.
Well, a lot of boomers are kind of downsizing. They want to do something a little bit different. Maybe they want one level, and those financial decisions can be a little scary and confusing.
Can we downsize the trouble?
Yeah.
as well as the home?
With this segment, I think you can.
Let's watch.
Okay.
Well, we're here today with John Dagas, mortgage lender, talking about a lot of different things. Particularly about all the different options that consumers should be looking for when they're purchasing a home. Share a little bit about some of those options, John.
Absolutely. So the four most popular loan programs out there are conventional, FHA, VA, and USDA are kind of the four most widely used loan programs. I particularly specialize in new construction, working with local builders and helping people finance homes as they work through the construction process.
What can consumers look for or should be looking for when they're working with a mortgage lender?
Yeah, so there's a few areas that every customer wants to kind of focus on. Most people think interest rate's the most important piece of any loan program. And while it's important, it's not the end all be all. So they want to consider closing costs. How much is it going to cost them to obtain the terms that are in place? Those generally go hand in hand. So if costs tend to be a little bit higher, interest rate tends to be a little bit better, and vice versa. That's really it. You know, is it a fixed rate mortgage or is it an adjustable rate? All of those things really play into the overall terms and structure of the customer's mortgage.
So when people are looking for that mortgage lender, are there areas where people can find out information about a mortgage lender to see if they're reputable or I don't know if there are licensing concerns there, those kind of different things where from a consumer's perspective that they don't fall into a trap, say for instance if someone's asking for an exorbitant fee of some sort.
Absolutely. So all mortgage lenders individually as well as company have to be licensed with the NMLS, which is the National Mortgage Licensing System. They can find that online if they Google NMLS Consumer Access. They can actually find every loan officer. They can see if there's been any complaints or violations filed against them, their work history. I mean, they can see all of that within this licensing system.
Are there any other things that you can dive down? Because what I'm trying to do is protect individuals from the viciousness that could happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. So all mortgage lenders today, you can get a background on them as a company. I would highly encourage using one that is well known, that does business in a variety of markets, isn't necessarily a very small entity because there's more regulations put on larger companies, and therefore they have to be safer in how they handle the process and work with customers.
I'm trying to dive down to try to find out if there's anything that our audience would be looking for. Is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head that we should be concerned with as consumers out here in the marketplace working with mortgages? Because this is something that we do not do all the time.
Absolutely. So really where you're going to see differences from lender to lender is in one section. It's in the origination section.
Okay.
So that's going to show you where's the interest rate. It's also going to show you what fees are being charged.
Okay.
Standard costs to get a loan done from a lender, processing and underwriting are the two that you're probably going to see anywhere. On top of that, if a customer buys the interest rate down or a lender's going to charge a little bit more in discount for a certain interest rate, that's where you can start to see the difference. Everything else, for the most part, is going to be very, very similar or the same with each lender.
Thank you, John, for being with us and explaining all these varied programs within the mortgage industry. I'm Kevin Kimbrough, Boomer TV.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, I feel like we went all around the world and then came back again.
And met people and pets and all the things.
And we didn't leave this couch. That was the most amazing thing.
And we're so glad that you were here with us this morning. Be sure you tune in again next week. Bring your friends, tell your family all about Boomer TV.
We'll see you then. Have a great week. For more all things Boomer, just visit our website. That's indyboomer.com. Indy Boomer connects TV, magazine, and radio. It contains useful information for baby boomers all over the Indianapolis metropolitan area. And you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Pick up Indy Boomer magazine at most Kroger stores and libraries. Look for us all over Indy.
Listen to Boomer Radio every Saturday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. on Freedom 95 with a rebroadcast Sundays at 7:30. Indy Boomer, for the next chapter of your life.
Boomer TV is made possible with support from Westport Homes, dedicated to building homes for every chapter of life, with plans and details that match customers' specific needs and style. Additional funding is provided by Altman, Poindexter, and Wyatt attorneys, serving clients throughout central Indiana with wills, trusts, and estates with over 70 years of combined experience. Unique Home Solutions, serving more than 30,000 homeowners since 1983. Providing home remodeling services from minor updates to complete renovations with a mission to improve appearance and efficiency.